Hey everyone, I'm John Forsey, one half of the board gaming duo over on Instagram, here this week to talk to you about the Architects of Amytis, which has two players trying to become the architect of the king by crafting the most beautiful city for the king of Babylon to present to the queen of Amytis. You're going to be doing this by placing your architects to draft tiles and earn the favor of the king. But before we get into the specifics of how to play, let's head on over to the table and set up for a game of the Architects of Amytis. All right, we're set up here for a game of the Architects of Amytis. This is just one player setup. Both players do get the exact same setup. So we have the central board that has 9 stacks of 5 building tiles on it. And you'll see below each stack it tells you how many tiles to place there. We've got the King's Favor track over here, the score track over here, our stack of project cards with 3 of them revealed face up, and then each player is going to have their own player board. There's 7 of these King's Favor tokens. One of them is going to go on this score track here, which only gets used if you start getting over 50 points. The second one's going to start over here on the 0 marker. Both players also get, for Architect, a stack of 6 reference cards that tell you what each of the buildings do. You get 2 project cards to start with that are both going to be face up, and then the first player marker for the first player. So this game is played over an undetermined number of rounds, but each round is structured the same. It's got 4 steps you're going to take. So the first one is retrieving your workers, which is conditional. The second is going to be choosing one of the building tiles from the center board. The third portion is placing that building tile onto your player board. And then the fourth one is claiming a king's favor, which is also conditional. So the first action, claiming your workers, there's only 2 situations when you do that. The first one is if you have like a tic-tac-toe on the center board here, and you can see across the top it has kind of a reminder for that. If you have all 3 workers in either a horizontal row, a vertical row, or a diagonal row, you're going to take them all back. The second condition is if all 4 of your architects are placed out on the board, you're going to take them back. Then you're going to continue on to the next step, which is choosing one of the building tiles. Choose one of the building tiles. You're literally just going to take one of your architects. You're going to pick which stack you want them to go in. You're going to take the top tile off of that stack, and you're going to place your architect there. You do have to place it on a space that doesn't have an architect, whether it's yours or your opponent's, and there also have to be tiles there. You can't place it in one of the empty spaces. After you've chosen your tile, you're going to place your tile on your player board, and this is a very open game in terms of tile placement, so you don't have to place anything adjacent. You can place tiles on top of other tiles. You're literally just going to pick a space where you want this tile to go. And then you're going to score points based on what this tile is, or you're going to trigger whatever the ability is that this tile has. And they're all referenced on these player aid cards here. So for example, placing this wall tile, I'm going to get 2 points per wall tile that's on the edge, including the one you just placed. So you're going to get 2 points for any other wall tiles that are on the edge of your board. The last action of every turn is checking if you have a king's favor. So if you reference the top of the center board again, it's going to show you those tic-tac-toe rules. If you meet any of those, either horizontal, diagonal, or vertical, you're going to get to choose one of these king's favor sections and place one of your tokens on one of those scoring conditions for the end of the game. These are kind of a first come, first serve, so once somebody's claimed it, nobody else can claim that space. The exception being kind of this bottom row here where you can have multiple tokens. This one's going to score differently than the ones above. At any point during your turn, you can also check for any of your project cards to be completed. So all the project cards look the same. They're all going to have a pattern that you're trying to match, and that pattern is going to be matching the colors or symbols that are on each of the buildings. So as soon as you have one of these completed, you're just going to show your opponent, hey, here's the pattern, here's what I've got, and you're going to put it into a face down stack in front of you. Most of the points that you score off of placing buildings you're going to get immediately. The project cards you won't score until the end of the game. You'll keep taking turns until 2 of these stacks are empty, and once 2 of them are empty, you trigger the end of the game. If the person with the first player marker triggers the end of the game, their opponent would get 1 more turn. And then you would total up your final score, and the person with the most points wins. So you'll add in the points that you've gained throughout the game. You'll add in the points from the King's Favor track, and you'll add in points from your completed project cards. This is a closer look at the actions that you have. There are 6 cards. They're both double-sided, so there's an A and B for each side. You do play with the same side for both players. So if one person's playing with A, the other person's also going to be playing with A. So for the A side and the wall tiles, when they're placed on your board, you're going to get 2 points for each wall that's on the outside edge of your board, including the one you just placed. For the theaters, you're going to get 1 point per architect that's on the center board, regardless of whose it is. So you can get at most 8 points from placing a theater. The palace is going to give you 1 point per palace that's on your player board, and this is also a way to take additional project cards. The market is going to give you 2 points per tile that's the same color of the market you placed, which would include the market you just placed. The residence is going to give you 1 point per different type of building that's on your player board, including the residence you just placed. And the garden is going to give you 1 point per stack that's the same height as the stack where you've just placed your garden. You'll keep taking turns until there's 2 empty stacks of building tiles on the center board. At that point, you'll total any points you accumulated through the game, points on your completed project cards, and any points you've gained on the favor board. The player who has the most points is the Architect of the King. Thanks so much for hanging out during this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe so that you can get notifications for next week's 2 Player Tuesday video. Until next time, happy gaming.